What is it that people dislike about telephone solicitations? Having their time wasted. Feeling pressured into buying or agreeing to something that they have no interest in. Being or feeling manipulated. Total lack of consideration by the caller. For example, receiving a call when you're in the middle of something and not being asked if this is a convenient time. Unprofessional solicitors that don't properly identify themselves or their company. People who speak unclearly or too fast to understand what they are saying. Individuals calling under false pretenses, pretending to be something other than what they truly are. The stereotypical telemarketer that uses a script and speaks in a very robotic and mechanical way. Callers who don't use common courtesy and ask for permission. People who sound like con artists. Solicitors who are self-absorbed and only concerned with their own needs and perspective. Trick tactics and strategies, something for nothing, or you've won a prize approach. Anything that sounds too good to be true. General rudeness and or ignorance. Callers that are obviously doing something else while making the call. How would you define or describe call reluctance? How does it affect performance? How can we minimize or eliminate call reluctance? Call reluctance could be defined or described as apprehension, anxiety, nervousness, avoidance of making telephone calls, especially cold calls. It affects performance in the following ways: slows it down, grinds it to a halt, creates irregular and inconsistent activity. Salesperson's activity and results are negatively impacted by the emotional side effects. Call reluctance refers to both phone and in-person cold, warm, or follow-up calls. For a seasoned veteran, it can be very comical to sit back and watch an inexperienced person squirm their way through the torment of making calls. Anyone who has worked in a sales career for any length of time knows this is one of the least desirable tasks for most people. In fact, it is one of the major reasons so few people consider a career in professional sales. What stops us from doing anything? Is it fear? Is it complacency? Maybe, but more than anything, it is because we stop or slow down to think. Typically when this happens, we instinctively focus our thoughts on the less desirable aspects of the action rather than on the positive outcome. This is especially true for a new person because they don't have any successes under their belt to serve as a positive point of reference. The only source of positive results they have is information that is supplied by others. Until we personally experience and feel the exhilarating emotions associated with a pleasurable outcome, we cannot establish a new point of reference to forge forward. Feelings connected with call reluctance become watered down and have less power over our decision to take action once we have experienced the victory firsthand. If you think about any task that you consider unpleasant, you will automatically find something else to do or justify an excuse for not following through with the responsibility at hand. Almost everyone does this in varying degrees, but those who have learned to overcome themselves have the greatest victories personally and professionally. We are our own worst enemies. If we learn to conquer ourselves, eliminate old bad habits, and replace them with new productive practices, we can overcome call reluctance. Don't think, just do. Dwelling on the negative costs you time, money, and your reputation. That's right, it affects your reputation. People notice people who get things done, and they are also aware of non-productive doodlers. Which one do you want to be known as? We have our own reasons for doing and acting the way we act. All we have to learn to do is make those reasons stronger than what keeps us from taking action. One of the most valuable lessons that I ever learned about call reluctance is to never stop immediately after a bad call. If someone has been extremely rude to me, or I just found out that a sale that I had thought was in the bag had fallen through, it's the worst time to stop making calls. It's that old adage of, if you fall off, you need to get right back on and ride. You should only stop when you feel in control and that you have had a favorable result because of your actions. Stopping to dwell on the negative emotions associated with abusive treatment by people you are calling on, or on the loss of a sale, paralyzes your momentum, and the longer you wait, the more difficult it is to get back in the game. Overcome call reluctance by making calls from a position of power. Clearly understand the value that you bring to your clients. Set daily activity goals and then stick to the plan so that negative emotions don't control your actions. Use positive affirmations to program yourself for successful outcomes. Picture yourself having success and imagine how you will feel when you have victory. Always stop on a positive note so you feel good about yourself and your results. As George H. Lawnmer said, putting off an easy thing makes it hard, and putting off a hard one makes it impossible. You can minimize or eliminate call reluctance by doing the following. Avoid overthinking the calls that you are about to make. Discipline yourself to take action. Use a script to guide you. Write down what you want to cover. Bullet points. Build on little successes. Practice. Additional support, training, and product knowledge. In most cases, our tendency to overthink things paralyzes us. I recommend you lean on David J. Schwartz's words of wisdom. Action cures fear. Learning Spotlight number 1. It's time to review what we've covered so far. Each question in the quiz has a 90-second time limit, and the quiz has a 15-minute time limit. You cannot pause the quiz once you begin. The quiz includes many types of questions, including true or false, drag and drop, multiple answers, etc. Read the questions carefully and make sure you understand what is being asked before submitting your response. Many of the questions or variations of them will be included in the final exam. You will be graded, and the passing grade for the quiz is 70%. You will have 3 chances to attain a passing grade. If you fail to attain a passing grade after 3 attempts, you will be locked out of the course. You will have an opportunity to review the quiz responses upon successful completion. If you wish to review the previous slides and sections, do so before advancing. Upon completion of the quiz, please click on the green Next button with the white arrow in order to advance to the next step in the learning path. This concludes step number 2 of the learning path. Please click on the green Next button with the white arrow in order to advance when you are ready to proceed.